everybody. Welcome to episode 211 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. In what may prove to be an inexorably positive development, Tesla Australia's country director Tom Drew has confirmed his commitment to and detailed plans for mounting a compelling rationale for Cybertruck to be sold into Australia. In an interview with the independent Australian car review website Chasing Cars, Tom Drew said, quote, "The only model we're missing at the moment that we really want here is a Cybertruck, and we are in conversations trying to make that happen. That's something we are trying to influence. There is still nothing here that is a real workhorse, full EV that has the range and capability that Cybertruck does. We think there is a real gap in the market that still needs to be filled, and we would love to be the ones to do it first. We want it here." Part of the tour was to get fresh eyes onto it, get a true perception of what people think about it and what the potential demand might be. We have a couple more that have just arrived. We are really gunning for feedback, helping us to hopefully bring it to market. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and quite frankly, very exciting news, to be perfectly honest. But no doubt we'll discuss that shortly. As is customary, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so, please do unmute and say hello.
Yeah, g'day, Chalky. Been a member for a little while now. I've sat in on a couple of sessions. Really appreciate some of the information that you guys have given out. Hoping to be a Model 3 owner in the next week or so. So
Oh,
pretty excited.
fantastic. Congratulations. No doubt you're getting very itchy
Oh yeah,
to get that awesome car.
for sure.
So have you got a delivery booking yet, Chalky?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah. The 20th.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
yeah, 8 days.
Fantastic. That's next Thursday. So
Yeah,
that's only seven sleeps or eight
I
sleeps,
know.
whatever, one or the other.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
getting
good.
pretty itchy.
Fantastic. Well, do make sure, excuse me, if you've got any questions, to definitely fire away because that's what we're here for, obviously. But yeah, once again, welcome and preemptive congratulations on your awesome car.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's go for a double. Is there anyone else who would like to unmute and say hello? Perhaps a little bit later. Cool. Alrighty. So who wants to ask our first question or make a first comment? There's.
I'll
It's
just say
always
I'm very
quiet at the
excited.
start.
I'm very excited about the Cybertruck. Sad about the
Really?
Tesla price.
Yes.
I need them both going up and the Cybertruck here as soon as possible.
Well, the best thing to say about Tesla's share price is it's on sale. Um, unlike the Cybertruck, which is not currently on sale. But yes, if not financial advice, but if you were intending on buying Tesla shares, yeah, it's certainly half the price of what it was at Christmas, that's for sure. And yeah, the Cybertruck, look, it's very interesting. Tokwa has always known Tesla Australia's yearning to sell Cybertruck as soon as it was basically launched in the States back in November 2019, so many years ago. But it's really heartening to see that Tom Drew really is doubling down and as was quoted in Chasing Cars, is actively advocating to head office that Australia be Tesla's first international or transcontinental destination for the Cybertruck, and obviously in a right-hand drive configuration, which he's actually said in the interview. There's nothing about the right-hand drive part that is difficult to deal with. It really is simple with the excuse me, with the steer by wire, and yeah, it really is a simple process to do. There's not many steps that have to be undertaken. So we just want head office to say okay. So after you've finish polishing those Teslas at the White House, Elon, please just tweet out okay and sell us those Cybertrucks that we want. Alrighty. Anyone got any questions or comments?
I got a comment. There, Harold. How you
Yes,
going today?
James.
Just
Very good,
posted a
thanks.
video link in I don't know if you know Jerry Rig Everything does some great YouTube work, but however, this is not a negative. I think if we talk about the iteration of the Cybertruck, yes, they've highlighted that at 10,000 pounds, it does fail, which is far and above any sort of any necessary thing. But I think what we have to look at is with that Cybercar with a gear casting.
That's not
How
good. That's
quickly
not.
would it be easier for them to change that?
Yeah, look,
Or just get ahead of we're going to hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, they break if you tow." 10,000
yeah, I
pounds
mean,
is a big load, vertical.
and the thing is, what's his name? What's his
Whistling
actual
Diesel.
name? No,
Jerry Rig.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forget his actual real name, but look, have no doubt. In fact, the very start of the video, if you have a look, this is his Cybertruck, which is wrapped in blue, which incidentally is Ford's color. You'll see that you can see the bullet holes in the side. So basically, one of the demonstrations he wanted to do was just use increasing caliber projectiles to achieve the outcome he wanted, which was to penetrate the super tough exterior. He is basically an unashamed critic of Tesla.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think in the early days, I think he was ambivalent, but then there was that famous video where I think he was criticizing Tesla's. I think it was just FSD at the time. It wasn't FSD supervised. It was before then. And that segment was actually sponsored by Ford and Ford's Blue Cruise. So, the problem with people that do stuff like this, and you can see from the very start of the video, he's got a front end loader, sorry, I don't know, the backhoe or whatever. Anyway, he's had to use, basically earth moving equipment to completely overstress the tongue of the Cybertruck. And I know he bangs on about things like saying, he's concerned. He's basically saying that the aluminium rear cast is defective. It will fatigue at any level, because that's what aluminium does. And he said, "Oh, if you carry an 11,000-pound trailer, which is what the Cybertruck is licensed to do, then there will be times when that 11,000 pounds will basically present itself as a downward force on the tongue." And the thing is, that's just not true. And it basically took nearly 11,000 pounds or 5.5 tons to actually break the Cybertruck. And I mean, we can spin it because I wouldn't say we're Tesla fanboys, but most of us objectively like Tesla because we just know and understand it's basically a superior product. And anyone can do an outlandish, stupid test, such as, overstress something until it breaks and goes, "Oh, haha, it broke." And then the comparison was an old, I think it was a 20 or a 30-year-old four-wheel drive that he said had been in a car wreck. And basically it didn't fail at the nearly 11,000 pounds that the industrial equipment was able to impart on it. And so I said, "Oh, look, see, it beat the Cybertruck, which is brand new." And I'm really worried about people towing things in Cybertrucks because we've heard of 3 different cases where the casting is broken. Now, of course, I can remember one other case, which was some other idiot that was driving the Cybertruck over culverts, and then when he drove it off the end of the 3rd culvert, the back smacked against a concrete block and probably cracked the casting. Then it just wasn't visible at the time, and then later on in the video where they escalated their misuse of the Cybertruck, it then broke, and they sort of said that was an example of the Cybertruck being weak. I mean, unfortunately, these big YouTubers have large budgets because when you've got millions of subscribers, each video can earn you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, I guess Jerry, or whatever his name is, does not care that he's basically written off a $100,000 Cybertruck. Because as far as he's concerned, he's got all the clicks and all the likes and all the discussions and all that stuff that he yearns, and that floats his boat. But it's something that we certainly shouldn't get too caught up with, because any idiot can chuck something off a cliff or off an edge, or abuse it beyond its normal specifications, and get an outcome that they desire. And it really means very little. In fact, I've seen a lot of people comment that it's actually a very positive thing. The tongue actually survived 1,000% adverse loading. So I don't know. It's just disappointing. But
Yeah, that was my
know,
look on it, is that it's obviously an engineerable thing, and I was concerned because not a lot of materials dynamics. This particular aluminium that the Tesla's using, and the casting isn't prone to fatigue. The main problem with fatigue is welding and fastening joints, where they focus loads in the whole thing about the casting. It avoids that, and it'll probably be a very trivial thing for Tesla if they want to up it, to change a few webs, a few members, and
yep.
as we know Tesla do, they can roll out another pattern at any point.
And the point too is that Tesla deliberately builds their cars for safety, and that means that they do necessarily fail in controllable ways. So in fact, the casting is actually used, the front casting in particular, and I think the rear casting probably to a lesser degree, is actually intended to progressively fracture and break and actually break up into many pieces, so as to reduce the decelerate the G forces of that impact. So it's actually doing its job. I mean, classically,
it's well proven that cars with railway track chassis are significantly less safe for people to be occupants of, because they don't crumple. They transmit the entire accident force to the user's body. So crumpling and failing is a great idea.
Yeah, Ralph Nader did that when he had that seminal document that he basically said, and I think he followed up with a I was going to say it was a film clip that basically said unsafe at any speeds, because the American cars in the 1950s, they were built like, they were called Yank tanks, and like you say, Ken, that is not how you. There's no point that the tank is intact and the driver is dead, and that's what used to happen. So to have things,
and the thing it run into has been killed as well.
exactly.
So safety is king. Brute force and ignorance is not.
No.
And just talking to the aluminium issue, if anyone's got issues with cars built out of aluminium, they should get back and talk to Audi in the 90s and the 80s. They've been doing it for a while. It's not new technology.
Exactly. It's but yeah, it's certainly, no doubt it got Jerry a lot of clicks, and I mean,
so let's not give him any more.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just put that behind us. And what I want to get lots of.
I'd be interested to see what would happen in a towing situation if that much dynamic force was applied, i.e., what would happen to your tow rig anyway? You'd be upside down in a ditch, regardless of what happened to your car, if you had a shock impact of 6 tons downward force on your
your caravan's not going to be intact anymore.
No, it's left the road, and probably, it's. And I did actually see a video. It wasn't great, of a Land Cruiser overtaking. I'm not sure what the vehicle was. It might have been a truck, and it was in Australia, and this Land Cruiser was towing a rather large caravan, and as he was overtaking, got the speed wobbles, and it flipped everything, including the Land Cruiser. And I got to say that the roof of that Land Cruiser looked pretty flat, which would not have been great for the occupants. But it's. I think one thing we can have a lot of faith in is Tesla's engineering of their vehicles, because
so without wanting to hog it, it was just, I thought I'd bring that up because obviously it's the talking point that people are going to, you can't tow because it snaps off. I'm pretty happy to tow with something that will snap off at 6 tons downward force unexpectedly. But also when you look at the, did you see the other one of the Model 3 that was squashed by a semi-truck?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
what we're
And
talking about. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. And I mean, speaking of, look, I'm happy to take any Cybertruck that someone will lend me. In fact, I'll even buy one and tow my ridiculous caravan around Australia just to prove that it won't break. But anyway,
Well,
Only the ones have.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll just keep driving it continually until they actually provide it for sale in Australia.
until it does break.
Until it does break. Well, it'll be the caravan
What I
that
don't
breaks. But
understand,
anyway,
Harold, what I don't understand, Harold, about that test was that, remember, they had the front tied down. If you put that sort of 5-ton force on the back of the truck in the real world with the front not tied down, it ain't going to take that force because it'll flip the truck over if there's enough ground clearance at the back. So it's just not going to happen in the real world.
that's right. Because if anything, the front wheels would lift up
The
the
truck could go upside down with that amount of
yeah,
force.
or
on
the
the
truck
back.
would just basically go into a V formation whereby the tow hitch was being pushed onto the ground, and then it would just be lifting the front of the Cybertruck, and would represent less than 5.5 tons of downforce on the tow hitch, because the rest of that excess downforce would just be applied directly to the bitumen of the road. So it's an artificial test. It was only ever intended to have one outcome, which was to break it. And I just wish, if I was someone like Tesla, I would just like, if this guy wants to think he can go and get it fixed or whatever so he can abuse it again, I'd be inclined to go as Tesla and go, we're very sorry, but we don't condone this sort of ridiculous, loonish behavior, and we're not going to be a party to it. But I mean, that's just me. I guess I don't have that corporate sort of restraint for idiots like that.
But yeah, his YouTube channel, and there's a few of him, like they have their own little bubble, and they're all negative, and they've got worse over the years. I've just sort of watched, because I used to watch him, and actually a few of the other ones, and in the end I just go, you know what? It's like watching bloody, any negative sort of media, and I'm just sort of going, I don't need that sort of crap. And
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it's like
they run out of ideas.
Yeah, it's like watching Whistling Dick, that fellow. It's just stupid entertainment. He's going to wreck the car. It was like watching Top Gear, but you knew what you were getting into. Where Jerry, he's sort of doing it where he's saying, engineering and all this sort of stuff. But if people actually step back, which they don't, they just go off. And unfortunately, with my job, I've got to watch all this crap so I can actually talk. When people ask me about all this sort of stuff, I can actually go, no. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. It's it,
I'm going to buy my Cybertruck, and I'm going to use it for everywhere, and can't wait.
So continuing on that,
tow my performance down to the track with my Cybertruck. So
I think it's where Damo is right now. Is Damo?
Yeah,
at
exactly.
The,
Damo's down at the track. Yep.
I is too.
So
are you going to do a run, Damo?
Yeah, there's been an accident at the end, but so everyone's parked up. They've got to pull him out the second, and yeah. Not sure what's going on up there, but there's a hold up anyway. So.
Well, let us know when you are going to do a run, and I'll put you on full screen, so then we can live stream.
Yep, no dramas. That's the plan.
Cool. Huffies, you've got your hand patiently up. Oh, I know what you're going to say. Yeah, go for it, Huffies.
I want to ask a question. Someone bumped into my daughter's Model 3. The front bumper's got a bit of a dent and a thing. The insurance companies directed us to renew. We asked them, could we take it to Tesla? And they're sort of confused whether they can do it. And they said, you need to ask them whether they can do it. On the Tesla app, it says you can book it. So I was just wondering if anybody's had experience doing it at O'Connor with the new panel shop, and whether, is there a process anybody's followed? Do we speak to RAC first, or do we speak to Tesla, book it in, and then ask RAC to pick up the bill I'm not sure if anybody's had an experience.
The only person I know is a son of someone who's a great mate of mine, and he didn't go through insurance. That was done, he paid for it himself. So I know he did book that through the app.
Okay.
You'd have to ask the RAC or tell the RAC that you want Tesla to be the repairer.
Yeah.
And then as long as they agree, then I presume you can then go through. I mean, having said that, Renew is a large organisation.
I
They've
know.
got lots of experience. Although having said that, me personally, I've had an issue with paint. That's the top coat. I was perhaps unlucky, and the top coat of my bumper that was replaced with a brand new one has actually come away. So Renew aren't going to be very happy because they're going to have to, whatever it is, strip the paint off, repaint it, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's another couple of panels involved
Right.
as well. But,
Yep.
yeah, Huffies, if you really want your daughter to go through Tesla, I guess the thing to do is just to request that from the RAC.
Okay. Yep. No
The
problem.
RAC,
Thank you.
look, they might say, no, we are the insurer and we get to choose.
Yeah.
And I think that could be in the fine print of many insurance companies. I'm thankfully not very familiar with that. But look, like I said, Renew's got great experience. If the RAC just dig in and say that's it, then one good thing I do know is that their process is very streamlined. So you get you basically get messages from them the whole time.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Certainly good to try Tesla O'Connor. That'd be because that's what it's there for.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great to hear that.
My personal experience with RAC was they were happy to go with a my nominated repairer. So I would just ask them the question.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Now tell me, were you over east by any chance?
Yeah, I got back yesterday. It was really good because I don't know, when we had the Cybertruck here, could we sit inside and control things?
No, we could not
they
sit.
had it.
No.
Yeah, so we could sit inside, play with the screen, and things. So that was good. He kept saying a display on saying that the 4G is in roaming. Take the car back to the network and we'll connect you. Anyway, so they had they had both not the launch series, but just the dual motor and the rear wheel Model Y. Really good. Like lots of nice things. Seats are more comfortable, I think. And everything that you guys have read, I guess. You can see the build quality is like level up. Everything looks. They had the ultra red as well as the Quicksilver. Yeah, pretty good.
And the thing is, with the square bonnet, the gaps have to be perfect because there's just no room for error. There's nowhere to hide. And they really have to be on the top of their game, which obviously in Shanghai they are.
Yeah.
Which is, that's awesome. Very jealous. Very jealous.
Yeah, there were heaps of, like you could drive up to 20 other EVs, like insane EVs, which have not even been released. So they announced like 6 cars at that expo, like Audi did 2, and then obviously Tesla did the Model Y, and then there were some from Zeekr, Geely. All of them announced the cars there, which is it's nice. You could test drive them, which is like insane. And the actual test drives, even the Tesla didn't send anyone, but the other cars, when you test drive the cars, they don't send a salesperson. They actually had BMW and Audi had bought these BMW race car experience instructors, and they sat in the car with you. So they were just telling their experience. Anyway, it was good.
Awesome. Perhaps next year, at next year's show, Tesla might be showing the right-hand drive Cybertruck.
I think so. I hope so.
Can I mention to Hafiz about my experience with the insurance?
Yes.
Hafiz, I just had a minimal front bumper issue,
Yes.
and I created the RAC report.
Yes.
And at the end of the report, it suggests to go to the nearest
Yeah.
repairer. But then you have the option to select your own repairer,
Yes.
and then they deal with RAC and they send the quote, and you don't have to do anything.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yep.
Hafiz,
Thank you.
Very good.
I should also add that it could be worse. There are insurance companies that try and make you go through other repairers who
Yes.
aren't even Tesla authorized repairers.
Yes.
So Tesla has 5 authorized repairers in Perth.
Yes.
Renew is one of those 5.
Yes.
And obviously they can do their own
Yeah.
panel beating now themselves as well.
Yes. Yes.
So at least they're sending you to a Tesla authorized repairer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
if you wish to have it taken to Tesla,
Yes.
you're no doubt you're no doubt in the right to at least ask for that. I
Yeah.
know there are some policies. I'm not that familiar with ROC anymore, but I
Yes.
know there are policies where you can stipulate that as an option.
Yes.
You take the policy out. So
Yes.
whether the repairer, whether it will be your own repairer or
Yes.
the insurance companies.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm not sure if ROC differentiates like
Yeah.
that or not. But
Yeah.
even if what I would be arguing, and what I have argued with ROC before, is if they are sending you somewhere and it's
Yes.
their own insurer, they
Yes.
should make sure that their own insurers are authorized by the manufacturer.
Yeah. 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 Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Arguing that, but yeah, Renew obviously is, so
Yeah.
at least you've got that.
It was interesting that I got a notification on my phone. I was at work somewhere else that the alarm's been triggered. So came on and said long press to see the video, and somebody had come and reversed with a tow bar. It was a Camry, and it was my daughter was at work, and then I told her to go out and realized that it was her patient that she had just scanned for a tummy scan who had hit, and he was young boy, but he actually didn't run away. He just waited there because the alarm had gone off, and yeah, so he gave his details and left. It was good how the app worked really well with the alarm.
Absolutely, and great that patient did
Yeah.
stay and did the
Yeah.
right thing, So, although I dare say the camera image would have been clear enough to get the rego anyway.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, it is. Yeah.
No, it's great that people do the right thing. No one likes to hit another car, and
Yes.
if it's your fault, you just fess up, and
Yeah.
Yeah, very
But
good.
being young, he probably Tesla had cameras, and he would have
Yeah.
been on the
Possibly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's an option as well. But
Yeah.
either way, he did the right thing. So
Yeah.
good on him.
Very good. Alrighty,
Thanks.
and
Thanks.
that's a bit of a sad note that it's never good when cars get damaged, but I mean that's just life, so nothing's perfect. James, you've got your hand up.
Oh, yeah, just for Haffies. When I had to get my Tesla repaired,
Yes.
my insurance company gave me a loan car,
Yes.
but they're only going to give me a Camry, and it was horrible. So I rang them up, and they allowed me to use Chiro, and I
Yes.
rented a Tesla while I was being repaired.
Oh,
And
nice.
do that,
Oh, good. Good.
which was
Thanks for
much
that.
better than driving
Yeah. Yeah.
like a hybrid Camry for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you.
So yeah, look on Turo, and they were more than happy to do that.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a good tip.
Yeah, it's very difficult once you've had a Tesla to ever go back to any other car. It's just inhumane. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I seem to be hogging it. Oh no, Mike's in. Mike's in.
Mike's got his hand up, and then you can go, James, after Mike.
Let me take that. Hi guys again. Sorry, I forgot you last week, as for some reason I just don't remember Wednesday evenings. So Harold, this is for you probably. I don't know if you remember, I have this issue with my 22 Model 3 where it shows these random speed things, and you were going to come and visit around Karrinyup. How did you go?
Yeah,
I should have asked last week, but I forgot.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that video. So
it's there all the time on mine at the moment.
I'm going to, in 2 seconds, just prepare the video and I'll chuck it up to my OneDrive and then.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll just talk in the background. So because I missed you last week, I went into Tesla at Aussie Park and said, I think there's something not quite right here, because it's showing a whole street at 5 kilometers an hour. And I said, can you just like quickly look into the system and see if there's anything obviously wrong? But they're flat out, as I guess all you guys know. So anyway, I booked it in, give them all the details. Bit of a pain actually, because you give timestamps and locations exactly and all this sort of stuff, which fortunately, because it's there all the time, and I had issues on the freeway as well, going to and from the Tesla, I was able to provide them. So it'll be middle of April and I've got an appointment for then.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just loading this video. It's 445 megabytes. So it's going to take a couple of minutes. But yeah, we'll get back. Actually, we'll go back to you, Mike, once I've got this video, and because I've got some more detailed data for that road that might be of assistance, but I won't spoil it. I'll do a typical radio announcers thing, which is in the next half-hour segment we'll feature that information. Now it was James. James, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I'd listened to a podcast and I'll put an article in the thing about the Model S and Model X refresh in the USA. Now it's actually been confirmed by the VP that they are doing a model refresh, but details are very scant. But there seems to be a lot of chatter about incorporating a lot of the Cybertruck features, i.e. 400 volt, fly-by-wire, et cetera, et cetera.
800 volt.
Yeah, 800 volt, which could point to perhaps a return of the Model X and Model S to right-hand drive.
Yeah, and to be honest, if Cybertruck comes, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Because I do. I still have an order that Tesla has tried to cancel on me. The one they actually accepted in bad faith, and provably bad faith, because it was placed on the 9th of January. Oh, I can't remember.
They did a Qantas. They accepted a booking for a one that never existed.
Well, they sold me a car for whom the factory had already been dismantled, because that's what they did in December 2020. Yeah. They dismantled the X and S lines and were rebuilding it for the refreshed car. And when I ordered it on the 9th of January, and the order, they accepted that order, they actually said that the delivery would be March that year. And of course, as we know, it never happened. But yeah, now I'm caring a bit less. But yeah, you're right, James. If they do go ahead with a 48 volt upgrade, I'm skeptical about the 800 volts because it's probably not that important, to be honest. But 48 volts, it would be critical in order to have your steer by wire. But it's weird. And one thing is, S and X is actually a low volume product now, very low volume, less than 50,000 total made a year worldwide, combined. But that might help it, because one thing that Lars, is it Moravi said was that they didn't go for steer by wire on the refreshed Model Y because it's such a high volume car, and that would have represented a significant logistics and sourcing issue and risk. And that was just something they weren't prepared to do yet. But he did sort of say eventually all the models would go that way. So yeah, perhaps you're right, James. 48 volts and hence steer by wire, and then therefore having a right-hand drive version, that would be a lot simpler. Although interestingly, Tom Drew, the head of Australia New Zealand Tesla, basically he said the only thing that we've got a gap in models at the moment is the Cybertruck. So that kind of implied that he wasn't that interested in the S and X. But yeah, who knows? Maybe Tesla.
I'd imagine, like as you said, it's a small volume. There's a big market in like the Middle East. People that want the luxury, the Teslas are selling now, but they want the next model up. It's a proven. So I think it would fill a hole for the luxury market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Now let me just
from the last shareholder deck for future vehicles, everything's included, like gigacast, 48 volt, 800 volt, all that sort of stuff. The only thing was exoskeleton and air bending was the only things not included, but everything else was clicked yes.
Yes,
so
yeah,
that'll answer your question with that sort of stuff. So yeah, so
definitely.
the refresh stuff will have that. So maybe you will. And if you've got their Model X price and they've accepted a deposit, maybe you can get it for that price.
Well, I've got a contract and it was for a very reasonable price. I forget what it was now. It was, I didn't get the performance, unfortunately, but a contract's a contract, and they're only in WA, they're only permitted to increase the price by 5%. And like I said, they unfortunately took that order in bad faith. And that's not an opinion, that's just a fact. But anyway, we'll leave that aside. Huffies, I'll get to you in a sec. I have got this video now for this road, which I think it's Huntress. Yeah, it's Huntress Road. So, mind you, for legal reasons, I had a passenger taking the video. I assure everyone that that's who took the video with a mobile phone. But let's throw to it. Oops, screen. Here we go. So this will be very familiar. So it gets to the roundabout, and I think it's just after here. Bang, 5.
Oh.
So it goes 5Ks an hour, and it keeps doing this all the way along. I'll just speed this up a little bit.
You clearly haven't driven in double view very often. That's just the normal speed there.
Oh, this is Karrinyup, actually, or Gwelup, or Karrinyup.
Yeah, it's Karrinyup.
So I'll just skip along a little bit because it basically just stays at 5. And then what I did was I got up to near Karrinyup Road. There's a T intersection where you can just see a couple of cars going by. Excuse that bullet hole in my windscreen. That's been there for a while. Okay, so now what I did was I actually turned around just to see what it would do. So I turn around here. And this is the interesting thing. Is going around the opposite direction on the same road, and it goes back to 50. So that's even more finesse. It's not just both directions, it's only in one direction. And then what I do is I go to the next, I think I took a Yui somewhere. I forget exactly where. I think, it's just up here. Chuck a lefty and do a Yui. So you can see there's a 50k sign. Do a Yui just to see what would happen, just in case it was like perhaps a sign or something was misinterpreting. But sure enough, after a couple of seconds, bang, down to 5Ks an hour. So it clearly is a database issue. There is something wrong with the mapping database, and that's what's triggering the car to do that weirdness. So yeah, Mike, I did do it the very next day from that that Ask Us Anything from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I'm just going through the tunnel now, Harold.
Oh, okay, Domo. I'll put you on. There's still a few more runs. How many cars in front of you?
2.
Yeah, okay. Just shout out when you're getting ready on the line or about to set up on the line.
Yep.
Just a quick comment, Harold, before it gets in the track. So if you
Yes,
come
Mark.
off Carrion Road and turn left into Gwelup, where you did the UE, it then goes to 5 about where you. So this is going down the hill, and then it flips to 50 for a little bit, then it flips back to 5. So as you say, there's just something wrong there. And
Yep.
the same is true on the freeway for me. I was in the right-hand lane going south near Hepburn Avenue, and it changes to 70, not under a bridge or a freeway or anything, a crossroad. So the database is screwy at the moment in these areas.
Yes. Yep. And like I said, Tesla uses Google Maps as a visualization, TomTom as the navigation engine, and I think OpenStreetMaps as something I can't exactly remember. That might be the speed stuff and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
I'll look that up actually.
Huffies, if you got a question before we go to, actually, I might just so I don't have to do it later. I'll just put Damo up as spotlight. But yeah, Huffies, you had a question. Oh, sorry, you had your hand up.
I just wanted to ask if it was discussed last week about the fact that some on the Tesla account, some people had noticed change in the nomenclature from
yes.
the. Has that already been discussed? What was the outcome of the discussion last week?
There was a temporary change in some parts of the app. So when you went to the upgrades part of your app, if you hadn't actually gotten FSD yet, they changed the wording to FSD supervised rather than FSD capable.
Yeah.
That and subsequently, after Pete threw down his 10 grand and inverted commas invested in FSD supervised, it then reverted back to FSD capable. But as of last week, if you looked at your documents section, if you'd purchased FSD, it was previously FSD capable. The document now shows it as being what it did last week.
Supervised.
FSD supervised. So
it still shows the same, I think, on the account page when you go into the browser. It says.
We get there.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Sorry.
All right. Don't jump the gun, Damo.
No, I'll try not to.
Who's next to you?
Some Mazda.
Oh, good start.
Track's terrible tonight. I was spinning all 4 wheels, so.
Look at that's quiet as. Oh, you beat him. Good job.
It's gone.
About 11 and a half, Damo?
I reckon probably 11.2 on that one, Pete.
Oh, nice.
Was,
That's not a bad time if the track is a bit slippery. That's unbelievable.
Should be around 11.2.
Very good. When is there a screen or a scoreboard further down that you can see, or do you have to wait to get your ticket?
There is, but it's sort of it's not facing me now. So I'm on the return road now.
Yeah.
I'll give you my time card when I stop back at the tunnel again.
Yeah. Right. Cool. Awesome. Geez, it's a lot slower going the way back.
There's actually a speed limit here. But
Wednesday
night.
Totally understandable. What's your state of charge, Damo?
It was 97 on that one.
Very good.
Nice.
So you'll have to crank up the. Are you going to do another run, or is that you for the night?
Yeah, I might go and just do a bit of a top charge, and then I'll come back out.
Very good.
Because of that hold up, I lost a lot of energy waiting. So these Highland ones really drop off. I found it like 97%.
Yep.
Thanks, mate.
All right. What did you get?
Show us on the camera if you can.
11.24.
Oh.
Boy, that's awesome.
Yeah,
very good. 11.242. Very good.
It's gone 11.13 is my best so far. So
What was your
no
reaction
weight.
time?
That's all the wheels. Reaction time 0.25.
Well, there you go, Damo. If you go
Oh,
instantaneous, you would have gotten under 11. So,
No, reaction time doesn't affect your ET, Harold.
oh, doesn't it?
Nah, so your ET
Oh,
counts from when you leave to when you get to the end.
gotcha. Right.
Yeah, it
Very good.
doesn't affect your elapsed time.
Yeah, no worries. Awesome. Oh, well, let us know if and when you go back on, and we'll spotlight you again.
Will
So that's
do.
another first for Talk Was Ask Us Anything, a live stream on the drags, and it wasn't even noisy, so that's pretty cool.
I might drop some pressure out the tyres as well because that track's pretty bad. They were slipping real bad then. I don't know if you could hear the tyres squealing.
No, it was pretty quiet, to be honest. The noise cancelling is pretty good on those on the audio.
All good. I'll get back to you.
No worries. Thanks, Damo.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Sorry, Huffies, were you gonna ask something? I can't remember now.
Oh no, it was just what discussion you guys had, but it sounds like you guys talked about
Oh,
the
yes.
super.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think on
So
the browser, on the account browser, it still says that for people who have but everywhere else in the car and everything, it says capable.
So I dare say it might be more to do with possibly Tesla's back end, bearing in mind that Tesla write all their own software for everything, basically. So they might have just altered that wording, and that just sort of spread to everywhere,
Yeah.
kind of inadvertently, even though they didn't really mean to. Because to be honest, FSD supervised means nothing to us here because we don't have it. So they could call it anything they liked. In fact, possibly, I don't know if this would happen, but it's possible that we could just get full FSD unsupervised as a one step
Yeah.
if it takes us so long to get it at all, because the rest of the world might have already proven that it was capable of doing it without being supervised.
Yeah.
So
But some of the videos coming out of China are insane on unsealed roads.
it is, and the really good thing is Tesla's had to do this with almost, well, no real data, no live data from China, and all of the learning had to happen in the States because Tesla is forbidden from importing any of the NVIDIA GPUs into China, even if it was into their own data center, that it's literally illegal for them to do that. And
Yeah.
it's also illegal for them to transfer any of their old or new video data from any of their cars outside of China.
Oh wow.
So they're really doing it quite blind, and what they've had to do is modify and introduce all the outliers via simulation using publicly available video from things like X accounts, and actually I don't even know if X is on in China. It probably isn't. But WeChat and all that sort of stuff, all the videos that you see posted, they've had to use those videos to create simulations
Yep.
of things like Chinese bus lanes, lanes and other things which are quite different to the States. But yeah, you see some of those things where they go out in the hills, on the
Yeah.
mountains, single lane road, switchbacks and all that sort of stuff, and then you got a multitude of scooters and motorbikes, and yeah, just really chaotic.
There's
And yeah,
even one where a policeman puts his hand up and the car stops for that. That's really
yeah, it's gonna. I mean, obviously, it's going to happen in Australia one day. And last week we had a few bets on when that would be. I think I ended up becoming quite pessimistic, and I think I picked the 27th of October. I think Pete was a bit more optimistic, and yeah, a few others. I think Penny picked birthday, so that was
30th of
easy.
June.
Yeah.
On the
So
28th of May.
it's going to be interesting, but one day we will wake up, and for those of us who have, I'll call it invested in
yes.
FFB, we're going to be very happy almost instantaneously and giggling like little girls driving around or being driven around in our cars.
Yeah. Are you going to transfer your FSD to the new?
No, not a deal. Can't do.
All right.
No. Unless by some miracle Tesla decides that they're going to allow that, I'll probably get my car at the end of May at the earliest.
Yeah.
So no, it's not at the end of a quarter, so it's not going to be a quarterly push. So no, that will be the third lot of roughly $10,000 that I have invested in FSD. But one day I'll make a purchase and I'll actually be able to use it, which will be really cool one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and that probably says more about me than it does about Tesla. But anyway, always got to be an optimist. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments?
Aaron, I've got a question about joining the meeting today.
Sorry, Saxon, we'll come back to you straight after Norm.
No dramas.
Go, Norm.
Yeah, when I joined, it appeared like I was put into the waiting room and you had
Yes, you
to
were.
admit me. Okay.
Yes. So,
all right.
To be frank, the reason why I do that is, if I don't do that, a few people will come on, say 5 or 10 minutes before 7:30, and inexorably, you want to talk about stuff, and what often happens is a lot of the golden little nuggets of some anecdote or some minor bit of news or something will come up in that discussion.
Yep.
And of course, that means that people watching us on YouTube or on X miss out on that because most people won't remember what they sort of spoke about, and it's a little bit sort of a forced sort of thing to say, "Oh, hey, so and so, can you please reprise what you said and had dealt with, half an hour ago?" So, to be honest, it's just a means of reserving the discussion to the recorded part of the program, just so that everyone gets to enjoy that or gets to benefit from whatever that little bit of knowledge, however trivial it may or may not be. So most of the time I'll just turn on the waiting room just so that we sort of everyone holds back their discussion until the program starts. So that's all it is. Totally normal.
Yeah, makes sense.
Just that, yeah. Saxon, you were next.
I was just going to ask you about you talking about your 3 lots of upfront purchasing of FSD and the monthly option. No more talk about offering that in the Australian market?
No, but that's probably more to do with the fact that there's not much to offer at this stage, unlike the States, whereby are they $200 US, $199 a month, or is it $100 a month? I can't exactly remember.
99, I think.
It's
99.
Yeah, $100 a month.
Yeah, so if Tesla offered that in Australia, there'd be very few takers, I believe, because there's very little extra feature that you get over and above autopilot in Australia. But as soon as Tesla finally does bring FSD supervised, then that might be a time when they will introduce renting it by the month. Which
that's a valid point, because if they were charging for it now, no one would be buying it, whereas people are paying the upfront now.
People are paying upfront. People like Pete, ever optimists, are paying for it in the belief that it'll be worth substantially more, or either cost substantially more or be worth substantially more after it's released. So that's more of a semi-speculative investment. People like myself, I mean, as soon as Elon said in 2016, thankfully, just before my car was built, my Model X, because it was built in November 2016, and I think it was in October when Elon Musk announced Autopilot 2 or Hardware 2, and basically said by the end of the next year, end of 2017, there'd be a demo of a car driving by itself between LA or San Francisco and New York or something. So, being a tech junkie, I just went, yeah, take my money. and now Richard Chapman has that lifetime full self-driving.
And
Uh,
and don't worry,
from-
Harold, gonna keep it until it's there.
yes, you're going to do actually. Yeah, you're going to do what one of my mates is militantly going to do with his Model X is, regardless of how old it becomes and how decrepit it becomes, he will be insisting that Tesla provides that vehicle with full self-driving one way or another. So
Absolutely.
And yeah, obviously when I sell
Harold, one of the reasons.
Pete, you were going to you're starting
Sorry,
something?
yeah. No, I was just saying one of the reasons why I also bought it is because all my cars have got hardware 3, and Elon said that that they will probably be upgraded to hardware 4 or whatever they need to do to make the cars full self-driving. So that was also another reason that made me do it.
Yes. Yeah. So hopefully that will come to pass.
And the price may well be even lower. We know what happened in the US when FSD Supervised came out. They actually dropped the price by a couple of grand to try and induce people to, because they wanted as many people as possible to experience it. So I knew, buying it, when I did a couple of weeks ago, that I was probably taking the risk that I may have been overpaying a couple of grand for it. But if it meant that I would get my what's it called, AI3 or hardware 3 upgraded to AI4, then I didn't mind. So you really don't know. You're just rolling the dice, but
Yeah, exactly. And like we've said many times on this program, for us in Australia, it's really difficult to actually understand what a step change FSD is compared to what we experience. Because if we just extrapolate what we experience into the future, it seems like it's never going to happen because our cars are so profoundly useless compared to FSD supervised. It's just chalk and cheese. So, hopefully before the end of this year, or actually I think was it Saxon was gunning for 2026. So,
1st of January though.
1st of January, that's right. So less than the time it takes to make a baby. Have a baby, whatever you call it, cook one, whatever.
Harold, it's interesting. We went on a test drive on the Cadillac Lyric, and the guy, the sales guy manager, was saying that they can't turn on GM's full self-driving here because that's based on a mapping system, and they can't turn it on till they drive around whole of Australia mapping it, which may not happen forever. So they use a different technology. So will they need to do something like that here, or not necessarily upgrade or remap things before they can turn it on?
You mean Tesla?
Yeah.
No, and that's the great thing.
Vision based.
Yep. So Tesla will absolutely not have to do that. They obviously have to do some tweaking because it's end-to-end programming. So it's literally billions of minutes of all sorts of driving examples to feed into the neural network to actually program the actual computer or the neural networks. Obviously, there's a big change. I mean, no, actually, it is. It's a big change to go from left-hand drive to right-hand drive. That's absolutely a massive change because everything basically is mirrored, but they probably can't really just simply tell the system somehow magically, just imagine all this was back to front. I don't really think it would work that way. So there's clearly got to be some tweaking to adjust things. But as we've seen in China, absolutely zero live footage was being able to be used in China. What Tesla's already announced, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, was that all the cars in Europe are, and probably ours in Australia, are running in shadow mode for FSD, even though they're just using, even though the owners are only using autopilot, but FSD is running in shadow mode in the background, and obviously competing against itself or the driver to see who is more accurate. And then where there are outliers, that would be feeding that information up to Tesla's servers in the States. Now that's fine for Europe and Australia, well, Europe and the rest of the world, except for China. So the fact that Tesla was able to release FSD supervised, although it's a slightly different name in China, that is testament to the fact that they can actually do, something that's even harder than adjusting through shadow mode the behavior of our cars with right-hand drive.
Yep.
So no, I think it's clear that there's no technical impediment for Tesla to bring FSD into Australia, or supervised, and eventually unsupervised.
We'll find out before they actually do it, because in Australia it'll be counted like an autonomous vehicle trial. So they'll have to actually get a permit and all that sort of shit. So we'll probably hear about it. It might not be long, but I think we'll hear about it before it'll come, even though it's supervised, because it's counted as level 2, and you can go from level 2 to level 4, level 5 straight away. It just might require a permit under the Australian freaking road rules and all that sort of stuff. I've had to look up all that sort of thing and know about that for my job anyway. So but Tesla will be easy because it's an existing vehicle. So, and no modification is needed, only just the software update. So you'll hear about it beforehand, but it'll happen very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's one of those hurry up and wait, and then bang, poof,
Well, it's like Kathy Wood says, slowly. Excuse me. It's slowly, then all at once. Yep. And we will literally. It'll be. Oh, look, there might be a time when it rolls out slowly, so there might only be dozens of cars, possibly a few YouTubers and other. I was going to say a W word, but I won't say that. And other people, notable people that might get it a little bit earlier than the rest of us plebs. But it'll roll out fairly quickly, and all of the agony of waiting for the last up to 5, 6, 7 years will all just vanish away when we just, like I said, get our phones out and start live streaming and giggling like little girls and stuff, and just saying how awesome it was that it just did that awesome corner, or that it went down Manning Road through the intersection of Leigh Street and didn't try and bin me into the corner light pole and stuff like that. So, and we'll be taking it. You can't go on the zigzag anymore, but actually maybe the zigzag is still open during the day, I think, in Kalamunda or Lesmurdy, wherever it is. So we'll be doing crazy stuff. I mean, I know someone in particular. I know a friend of mine that might even want to drive his car around Australia on FSD. Wouldn't that be awesome? With the footage to prove it, streaming like slow TV for 10 days straight. Anyway, one day. Has anyone got any other questions or comments? And even Chalky, if you've got anything for your awesome new car, like, for example, have you got your charging sorted out yet at home?
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I'm all over that. So what I'm really curious about is what is Dame, it looks like Damo's got a Model 3, is he? What's he running now?
Model 3 Performance.
He's got a Highland Performance.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's a good time. Yeah, I'm all sorted out. I bought everything. I've been waiting for so long. I've got it's going to take me a day to install everything.
I was going to say, you didn't have to wait 3.5 years for your Model 3 like I did, so you'll be right.
That's true.
Or
I got the FSD
like I did.
What? 4 years? Yeah. Nah. The only thing I was going to
Chuck, did you say you got FSD?
Yeah. No, I'm rolling the dice. I reckon this is going to be the future.
Sweet.
Okay, that's good, but just don't buy it until you get your car delivered, and then buy it literally the same day, because otherwise you'll get charged extra stamp duty on it.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so if you're paying the 10 grand, just ring Tesla and just ask them to take it off your order, and then just if you're getting it next week, the day you get your car, then just just use your credit card and pay for it, because it's probably decrease the value of your car, the price of your car by, I'm trying to do some maths. I'm not very good at mental maths, but it'd probably be $1,000 or more.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, definitely save yourself some money.
Yeah, it's on a novated lease. I'm doing it for tax purposes, so the whole electric thing sort of sold itself to me, and I'm a big Tesla fan, so I mean I'm
Yeah,
fully on board. I'm a shareholder, so I've had the operation.
Yep.
Good job.
Yeah.
Are you getting like a standard range or long range or
No, long range,
performance?
dual motor. I was going to go the performance, but I couldn't. I don't know, just for the extra second, it didn't really.
Oh, it's so worth it, man.
Yeah, I know. I'll shut up.
You may also
look at
be
the
able
Model
to buy
S
the
now.
upgrade. You may also be able to buy the upgrade with your long range. You'll definitely be able to buy the upgrade. What is it, $2.5 or $3 or something like that?
I think it's $3 grand. Yeah,
$3 for an extra half a second or so.
Yeah,
that's
or
it.
0.4 of a second.
After you get your car, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Sweet.
No, I'm so looking forward to it. But I've got everything. I mean, I've been on YouTube forever now. So.
Have a look. You probably already know about our article on our Tokwa website, what to expect when you're expecting your Tesla. If you don't, just type that into Google and then type Tokwa after it, TOCWA, for Tesla Owners Club of WA. It's an old article. It has been updated. So, yeah, you'll probably find a few nuggets in there that might be helpful.
Oh, for sure. No, you guys have been great. I've been listening in for a few weeks. Most of the time I'm at work, so I can't really. I just put it on the background. But, yeah, got some really good info. Really appreciate it.
And don't forget, there's no rush. Don't feel like you need to be rushed in the delivery process. You can just look over the car as thoroughly as you like before you leave. But also know that if you're short of time or you miss something and you see something later that day or the next day at home, just take a note of it, and then you can go into your app and note it and put in a service request. So if you see a paint blemish or something like that, you're not forced to have to indicate it before you leave. It's not like there's a gotcha moment where they go, you've now left and now you're stuffed. Tesla will deal with it, within a few days after your delivery. So
yeah, you definitely get that vibe from the Tesla people. I mean, you look at the whole thing, they've built a quality car. I actually went in quite skeptical, and I was going to buy a Mustang, but yeah, no. I know. I'm sold now.
No. I was saying for yourself, you would have been so sad.
I know,
even your long range is faster than their performance Mustang. So
I know, yeah, it's just
so good, man.
A no-brainer, eh? Like you get so sucked in with the media, like they just seem to be like blitzing this crap about electric cars.
Yeah.
So thankfully I've taken the blue pill and I'm
now the red pill.
Out of the matrix. Whichever one it is, I'm out of the matrix.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good.
Awesome.
So happy for you, man. Oh, you're going to be so happy.
Yeah.
Cool.
So where are you collecting it from, O'Connor or Aussie Park? No, it'd be O'Connor, wouldn't it?
O'Connor. Yeah, I'm down near Mandurah, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Fantastic. Now, obviously, note to self, be careful of your right foot, because there's lots of speed cameras and these things accelerate so quickly and so quietly. I met a couple in South Perth a couple of days ago, and the gentleman had to admit that he had a couple of inadvertent speeding fines, which he hadn't intended on getting, and he doesn't normally speed, and he wasn't meaning to speed. It just kind of happened. So,
I guess where there's a lot of power, there's going to be some abuse. So, yeah.
You're happy to. You're welcome to abuse it, like Damo is, which is on the track, and you can go
absolutely. Yeah.
You go.
Yeah.
You
go. Autopilot is your friend, and especially you're getting FSD. You know, on a long trip, you can just zone out and just manage your car, and then you see the cops, and you know that you're fine because you're doing the speed limit. You know, and just set it to the speed limit. So then Tesla normally does like 2Ks under. So then you're always going to be under as well. So then that way you'll never get picked up. It's brilliant.
It is relaxing to go past the speed camera and not get that sudden knot in your stomach. You go, you know, like,
you
know you're not speeding. So brilliant. That's cool. You're going, go Chalky.
No, I just feel like I've been waiting forever. I've been waiting, so long now, 2.5 months. But like you guys said, 3 years, and there's nothing.
6 years for me.
Oh no! All right.
You win. Well, I've been waiting for my Cybertruck for that long, so it'll be longer. Yeah.
It's
Cyber Beast.
5.25 years for the Cybertrucks and counting.
Yep.
So that's
from
from
the time I get there.
2017.
Yep. So
it's coming.
Tesla, bloody $150 to look after that. It was half a share back then, so
interest free.
Yeah.
That's right.
I hope everyone's stocking up.
Oh, I certainly am. As soon as it dropped, I was good. I'm set for retirement, and then I saw it drop, and I was just like, "Nah, I have to do it."
I know.
Drew some money.
It's on sale.
It's on sale.
Yeah. I think it's gone up $10 since I bought it. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm about to run, Harold.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Damo. You on Spotlight?
I dropped the tyre pressure down to like 39, so I'm hoping. The track's really bad tonight. Gone left lane as well.
You're in the slower lane now, Damo.
Yeah, I know. Right lane's always been my light lane, Pete. But tonight, all four wheels were spinning, so I'd have to sort that out.
Yep.
I'll drop the tyres down to 39. I'll see what happens.
And there's a little bit of a headwind too. I see. Slight headwind, if that flag is right.
Yeah, I think so.
That's why I was saying the left lane is a bit slower, because you've got a little bit more protection from that side/headwind in the right lane.
Yeah.
I'm not usually in the left lane. I hate it, but see how we go. So many hold-ups tonight.
Coming live from Kwinana.
Come on, mate, stage.
And go.
This is so cool.
It's spun real bad again.
What do you think you got?
I reckon 11.2 again, Pete.
Yep.
Maybe even a little bit slower.
That's the thing with these cars. They're incredibly consistent.
I think I might have even gone a bit slower. It's just spun again. I was losing traction real bad on the front wheels.
Have you got it in track mode? Have you?
No.
Oh.
Just normal. Problem with track mode is it cools the motors down, but also cools the battery down. So it's good for track stuff, but not for drag racing.
Yeah. You want a hot battery.
Want hot battery, cool motors, yeah.
Have you used the sexy buttons, Damo, to heat the battery up?
I haven't. I was going to put them in for tonight, but I never ended. I wanted to get the interior out tonight as well, but I was told I was going to have a passenger, and then they didn't end up turning up. So, yeah. Nothing went as planned.
Why don't you just take the bonnet off and put gaffer tape instead? You can do the same with the boot, and you can do the same with the glass roof. Just take all the glass out, you know.
Convertible.
Very good. Let's see what you got in your ticket.
I think that run will be slower. We'll see. You never know with drag racing. Thanks, mate. Uh, 11.20, Pete. A little bit quicker.
Oi! It must have been the low tire pressure, eh?
203. Very good, Damo. Very good. Alrighty, well, that was pretty good.
Slower than normal, but yeah, I can't help the wheel spin, so
no.
I'll get that sorted out. But one has gone tens, Pete. This girl Julie, she's gone 10.96 now, so she's the.
Julie's the light lady. She's the one that's light, much like half the weight.
Yes, she's small.
So Damo, it's all your fault. You need to go. You need to go to the sauna, and get some hot.
Even with sauna, she's going to be hard to catch. Let me tell you. 10.96. That is flying.
Damo, you don't need your left leg or your left arm.
Yeah.
You don't need odds, Damo?
Oh, if I'm in hospital this next week, you know why. Getting limbs amputated.
Dearie me. Okay, on that awesome note, quite worrying note, Mike, you've got your hand up.
Yes. So you mentioned before, just going back to what Georgie said, actually, one of the reasons I put the dinger on for the speed limit warning on the car was finding exactly what the guy said. You just pop over the speed limit, 5 or 6, which will get you a ticket any day of the week if there's a copper around, and you don't know because the cars are damn quiet. And I used to drive by engine revs like we all do automatically, but there's no engine rev. So I put the speed limit dinger on. So I've noticed that the database is a bit dubious in places, right?
Yes.
So going back to that, Harold, I think you said it was Open Street Maps.
Yep.
So I've just looked up that. Does anybody have experience on it? Because you can actually get the speed limits, it says, but maybe you have to be a member or something to log in. I don't know.
I really know very little about it. Although I do believe I've seen reference to people modifying the map. I think it can be modified, but it might be one of these sort of crowdsourced things whereby if you do a modification, it won't actually be enacted unless other people do a similar modification, so that there's like a group voting that's a it's not a spurious
consensus
mod. Yeah. So
because I just looked at the browser version and it's quite out of date at the end. Gwelup Street used to cross over or used to be able to turn right onto it from Carrinup Road, and they closed that crossover something like 5 years ago, but it's still noted on the OpenStreet browser map version. Now, what's that got to do with a 5 kilometre an hour? But I'm just saying, I wonder if they're not actually that up to date, and why are Tesla using them then?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's just what I believe that they're using, but
not a problem. I just wondered if anybody got experience.
No, but I definitely do know they do use TomTom for the navigation,
Yes.
and obviously we know it's Google for the visualization. And there are certainly several places whereby the blue line, which is your navigation route, will differ from Google's representation, because Google is generally up to date pretty much. They're quite prompt with new roads and new layouts.
That Google Maps, is that the case even if you're not paying your $10 a month? Is that the case? Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So one of the main differences visually, if you don't pay for your premium connectivity, which is the $9.99 or $10 a month, is you don't get Google's aerial photography shown on the map. You don't get that button to press that, and you also don't get the traffic visualization. So you don't get the red lines and whatever.
Yeah, I mentioned last time I was on. You do actually.
But
you do get the traffic
Oh, okay. So they've returned that. Okay, so that's now come back. And even when it wasn't there, the car would still use it for navigation purposes. So if you set your rerouting criteria to down as little as 1 minute of time saved, it will do it according to live traffic information.
All good. Thanks.
No worries.
Hey,
all
sorry,
right.
which street was that that you guys were talking about?
Gwelup and Huntress in Carrinup.
Okay.
Off Carrinup Road.
The Carrinup end of Huntress near the park, and then Gwelup when it comes from Carrinup down to meet Huntress. Gwelup Street. Gwelup Street, Gwelup Road, Gwelup Street.
Yeah, I'll just bring it up on Google Maps. It's
Gwelup Street and Huntress Road, all on the north side of Carrinup Road.
It's right here. If this button works, there we go. So where I did the video, I went up Huntress and went around when it becomes then elbows round to Gwelup. And then I did a UE sort of just up here. So basically from about the first roundabout onwards, it was 5 k's an hour going in this northerly direction and then westerly direction. But when you do a UE, going in the opposite direction, going in the northeast direction, it then would revert to 50 k's an hour. And then I did a left turn at Hicks and did a U-turn back, going in a southwest direction, and it reverted to 5 k's an hour after about 15 meters, all the way up Gwelup Street. So that sort of proved that the direction, the speed isn't just set globally for that entire road. It's set by direction as well. So there's a differential. And clearly it's a map error because there were no speed signs, which is why I wanted to do the U-turn to see what it would do, because you can never quite be sure if it misinterpreted something that it thought was a speed limit sign. But of course in the video you don't see that. So because if there is a speed limit sign, it'll show it, albeit briefly.
And it is more complicated, as I mentioned before, because if you come off Carrinup Road into Gwelup, as soon as you get past that point where you did the UE at the top, it changes to 5 there, even though it didn't for you after the UE. So it depends on, I think it seems to take a few minutes to recognize that there's a problem, or that there's a change, I should say, rather than a problem.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be minutes; it'd be seconds.
Well, seconds, but yeah,
yeah, exactly. And again, if it happens in one street, it's not terrible. But if you on a long distance journey, and you can't use autopilot because in the country, when it's not in the city, you can't override the speed beyond 10 k's an hour above the perceived speed limit, which is very frustrating. Otherwise, you could just do manual steering and use TAC.
Yeah,
traffic
exactly. What concerned me was coming down the freeway from Joondalup on the way back on this trip in the right-hand lane, so not near the exits, in other words. It dropped to 70 and the car went to brake and I just pushed through it.
Yep.
That braking on the freeway like that is not good. I mean, I only do this when there's not much behind me, so I don't want to give the guys a scare behind,
Yeah, indeed. And when I drive in my car by myself, I usually give my car plenty of rope to hang itself because I just want to see what it does. Yes. But of course, if I'm driving with my wife, she doesn't find that as pleasant an experience, especially so I usually then just keep the car on a very short leash, which is always healthy to do.
Yes, I'm the same because I've managed to convince the missus not to drive the Mazda 3 everywhere and drive the Tesla everywhere. Saves money.
Well, the thing is, yeah, absolutely. You should convert the Mazda to cash and get another Tesla.
Well, when the upgraded 3 comes out with a when I'm saying when it will be at some point, not now, when. And FSD's probably around, and they've got a stick for the indicators. I'll be buying a new 3.
Yes, well, that's interesting. So that
could all happen at the end of this year.
Yeah, exactly. There's really no reason why Tesla shouldn't do that by the end of this year. It's a simple change. In fact, the steering column would be identical in the Model Y as the 3. I'm almost 100% certain. So it would just be a changeover in the logistics where they would just order only Model Y steering columns effectively, as opposed to, and steering wheels, as opposed to the Model 3 variant. So I wonder, it'll probably just be a mandatory change. So they'll just change it over at a certain date. It's not like, I don't think they're going to offer the option, because that would just be silly. You just go and put the stalk back. And I don't think many people would whinge that the stalk had returned and that they preferred the buttons. Not many, really, I don't think.
So that's my choice, and just hoping I can trade in the Mazda for something more than $5.
Oh, look, I'd give you 650 maybe, because I could do a jerry rig everything and do interesting torture things to the Mazda and see if it can withstand, I don't know, something interesting.
I mean, it's not ancient, but to show you how I like the Teslas. I mean, I normally keep my cars for about 20 years, and this is only 10 years old. So I'll be changing at half its normal life if what I said comes true this year.
Well, I normally, except for one Tesla, I normally keep them for about 11 or 12 years of normal driving. So I can't be accused of flipping them flippantly. So, once I do, the car I've got now, I'll probably do about a couple of 100,000 Ks before I sell it. So I'll have it listed on car sales as near new, hardly used, great condition. And only done country miles mostly, because it's gone around the country a few times. But anyway, I think Domo's finished for the night. Looks like it's parked up, charging, so that's good. All right, so we're getting towards the last half hour of the program, or that's also known as the fourth half hour. So yeah, we've got any sort of late questions or comments? Armin, you must.
I was going to say my favourite topic. I don't know, some of us are interested, so I'll be the resident. Did we see the rocket launch?
Yeah,
yes,
pretty
for
cool.
the rocket launch, and the third time that the booster was caught. Which, in fact, the booster's been caught. They've had a perfect record on booster returns and catches. The only reason why they didn't catch the third booster was because the tower wasn't ready, or effectively wasn't ready, or in good enough condition to accept the catch. So that was spectacular. And SpaceX being an open organization, not secretive, didn't feel the need to cover up the fact that the Starship burnt its guts all over the Bahamas, basically, spectacularly, again. Yes. And when you look at the video, there was a great shot, obviously a fisheye lens, looking backwards at the 6 engines. Actually, probably you only see 5 of them, but anyway. And the very telling thing was earlier on in that piece, that whole back part of Starship and looking at the actual rockets and the you couldn't even see the rocket plume or the exhaust or basically the burning methane and oxygen. But just before it blew up, you could see that there was a whole lot of red flame or red sort of light or orange sort of hue. And that was obviously all of the methane burning from, what do they call it, the attic? I think it was above the engines where that insulation layer is to the outside. So yeah, that was a real shame. It's a backward step, it means there'll be another ditch
Yeah,
into
this is a tricky
the
problem. Yeah, this is a tricky problem. Up being from an engineering and problem solving and other background, this is tricky stuff. Because for those that don't know, this is version 2 of the ship, and they had vacuum insulated the pipes, probably to deal with some of the ice buildup, so the filters don't get full, because the methane goes through the oxygen and vice versa. So that's going to be tricky to stop that vibration, and testing that on the ground is difficult.
Well, it's basically impossible completely, because you can never replicate space and everything that happens dynamically.
Yeah.
And the thing too is, rockets is a classic example of, it's all about the skinniest of margins. If you can build anything super strong, but it won't lift anything meaningful into space, because it'll just be lifting itself and nothing else. So you by necessity, you've got to have the slimmest of material margins and strength margins that is just good enough. So they can't over-engineer it. I mean, they could, but then it wouldn't be useful. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting and frustrating, because they still have to retest all the tile systems. They've got to still test the PES dispenser. They still have to ditch into the Indian Ocean.
It's a overall it's quite a few months setback in the overall program. But the good thing is, so the best footage I've seen, other than the catch, and I don't know how they did it, but they managed to get a camera under the launch mount. So SpaceX have put a video, whatever you call it, on X, showing the liftoff, and so you can see the engines start up. You think about being under those engines, 33 of them, when they light up. Somebody, what's his name? The gentleman commentator that commentates with the lady during these rockets, I forget, Dan something or other. He said, "I'd never expected to see this." So amazing footage, those who haven't seen it. But you consider where it is. Oh, you're showing it now.
Yeah, I'm just going to read. Yep, there we go. My jazz
so this
started.
is slow motion, so it's not real time. But you can see how that engine on the right there is cloudy. That's not lit yet. Then it's just lit now. And they're still winding up to full power, because the rocket's not held down at this point. It's just sitting there. And as soon as the thrust is more than the weight, that's when it starts to lift. It does in a second or two.
And I mean, just the
camera stayed there.
Yeah.
There she goes.
And that, bearing in mind, that would be a quartz window. That is not glass.
Who knows what it's made of, but yes. The force is the issue.
Oh.
Yeah, because what people don't realise until you think about it is that rocket weighs, what is it, something like 3,000 or 5,000 tons or something? So that thrust, that force that's coming down in that exhaust is the opposite of that.
Plus a bit extra.
Wind, or whatever you want to call it, is 3,000 to 5,000 tons or whatever it weighs.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's something I haven't seen, Mike. So that's I think I'll be picking that up on the home theater and having a good squiz.
Yes.
It's
and if you haven't seen this, which is my background, the actual landing of, which way is it? The landing of these guys from Firefly, I would recommend it. And it did take off on a Falcon, so it's sort of, Tesla-ish, SpaceX anyway.
But the other one that landed did the same thing as its predecessor, which is land and then tip over on its side, unfortunately.
Yes, the word is that they're using laser for altimetry measurement, and when it gets dusty towards the end, it loses the plot, which sort of makes sense. Whereas Firefly used old-fashioned radar as Apollo. lasers can't see through dust.
Yes, it's kind of a very prophetic sort of thing. Like Elon Musk sort of has always claimed, LiDAR has its limitations.
Yes.
And
I mean, that's
yeah,
all armchair speculation on our part, of course. We haven't heard anything official, but we do know that it's laser. They have said that.
yeah, absolutely. Very good. But yes, so obviously in the next, I think Elon Musk is fairly optimistic. So I think he was saying 4 to 6 weeks, but it might be a little bit longer than that because obviously the FAA require SpaceX to do a route failure analysis, and because they don't enjoy getting airplanes to divert and all that sort of stuff. Some people do get a little bit inconvenienced for a
They
little
need
bit.
to get on with it too because they've only got a short time. If they want to, if he actually wants to send a ship to Mars in the 26 transfer window, they've got their work cut out.
Exactly. And the thing too is they've got all of these version 2 Starlink satellites for direct to device, direct to handset, and they need to get a wriggle on to get them launched. I mean, that's holding back basically Starlink. So that's
Has
something that,
anybody got
I mean, they are
Starlink in
launching.
Perth?
Sorry?
Have any of the members here got Starlink in
Oh
Perth?
yes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've got one. I've got a Starlink terminal siliconed to my glass roof of my Model Y.
Right.
So, and it's been around Australia 3 or 4 or 5 times, 4 or 5 times, siliconed to the glass roof. And once or twice I had it just gaffer taped, and I think another time I jammed a bit of sponge on the and gaffer tape on the driver's seat. Sorry, passenger front seat. Just sort of sandwiched it between the glass roof and the headrest. So yeah, it works really well.
Yeah, in the country it'll be fine, but here in a city, I'm just wondering whether the bandwidth is enough if everybody starts piling on, you know.
Well, Perth is actually sold out. So at the moment, you
Right.
can't get a fixed Starlink service in
Right.
Perth. So if you
There
look
you
up
go.
the starlink.com on the map, and I'll just bring it up. Oh, what's it called? It's probably called Map. Map. Yeah, it is. And I'll just bring it up. So it shows Perth as this the area sort of basically Yanchep down to Mandurah is sold out
There you go.
for the time being. Whereas everything else, everywhere else in Australia, and also in obviously Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast to Sunshine Coast, is also sold out. But everywhere else is available. But having said that, you can get the roaming edition, which does best effort as opposed to guaranteed service. So you can still get the roaming version, which is now $50 a month for 50 gigabytes per month, which is
Or
still great.
$195 for unlimited.
Yes, yeah, indeed. So, but yeah, it works really well and works right in the car. It's very reassuring to know that you've got fast internet, and by extension, you've got Wi-Fi calling from your mobile anywhere in Australia, which is really good. Which I'd love to use in a Cybertruck with FSD supervised, driving around Australia, towing a caravan. Wouldn't that be awesome? Streamed via Starlink. Anyway, all right, with 20 minutes of the show to go, any other questions or comments? Actually, Carmen, you're feeling a bit less affluent than you used to. By Christmas, you were
Yes. It's
in
only
test,
because I've moved house, Harold. I've been moving house.
and the share price has tanked.
I know. I know.
fault.
What's happening?
I think you need to move back now, Carmen.
Oh, really?
Adam Jonas from Morgan Stanley has basically said that he expects Tesla to test their $200 bear case and their $800 bull case within the next 12 months. So that's going to be a 4x price range, which is
Wow.
pretty interesting.
Are we going to meet our predicted target of earnings? Are we on target, Harold?
You mean our price target or on
Yes.
target? Well, that was for, I can't remember when it was for. Was it 2028 or 2027? Can't remember one.
2028.
Um,
28,
yeah,
30, we were saying.
yeah. So
Yeah, 10 times.
it's, I must admit, I was feeling quite effluent as
Yes.
Kath in December, and
Mm.
now I'm half as effluent. And
Mhm.
yeah, but the thing is, in the last 12 months, Tesla's 12-month low was $138.
I know.
So that's almost like half of the current price.
I know. Should have bought
So
some more. I went to Tesla today to Cannington. Sorry, O'Connor.
O'Connor,
And
yep.
I didn't know that I had a 12-volt battery in the trunk. So it needed changing. 4 years old. I think it's 4.5, actually.
That's not too bad.
I got a little message from the car, and I thought I better do it straight away. So I went. It was an excellent service, very efficient, $178. So that's
very
pretty good.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was awesome. And while I was there, I had a little chat with the body section, body panel.
Yep.
And that was very efficient. I haven't got the quote yet. That was a little misdemeanor at Clermont Quarter by a third party. And I didn't know, which people may want to know, that I thought I would use the USB to try, because someone just did it while I was parked at Clermont Quarter, where all the cars are tanks. They're so large. And they just scraped the back quarter.
Yep.
And I thought I'd take the USB and ask them how to find the registration of the offending car. But I didn't know that you have to remove the USB within 48 hours. And of course, that was a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I will have to pay for it. But it was a very streamlined service through the app. I was shown how to give all the details, take a couple of photos with the phone, and it's gone on to Zurich for assessing or quoting.
Oh, that's right, because you've gone through Insure My Tesla through.
Yes, I went. I changed from Budget Direct to Zurich because I was not happy with the price. Yeah, and so all went well.
Very good.
There was one chap who was very unhappy at the showroom, and he was complaining that his Y had cracked plastic areas in the car, and he came and told me all about it. And I mean, there's nothing I could say about it because I don't know much about the Ys. And the Tesla employee very seriously said, these things don't crack by themselves. So I don't know what happened. But they said it wasn't covered.
Yeah, right. Do you recall where it was cracked?
Yes, it was in the front panels. There's the door and the front panel inside the car, and he was quite unhappy about being Mickey Mouse, I suppose.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
we don't know what his children or other third parties may have done. I suspect.
Indeed.
Have you heard of any faults like that before?
No, the only thing I know was an issue, or still is an issue, is I don't think it's in Model 3 so much. Actually, Pete's in the room because he's got a fleet. The Model Ys had an issue with the clips that hold the sliding glass for your windows, your side windows. And those clips weren't strong enough. So there was a soft recall, like there was a replacement part. Because what would happen is a couple of people came up with their glass window would crack. And what it was, if you look closely, is the glass gets out of alignment, and when it closes, rather than closing on the door seal, it actually hits the B pillar glass panel, which has your side camera, and can crack. So that was it became a known issue months after it first started, I guess.
Yeah, more like a fault. No, this was some plastic panels, and there were several. Yeah, but no, I was quite impressed. I was in and out in an hour 15, having done both jobs.
Have they given you an indication how long it will take for them to do the repair once they do it? Would it be days or a week, or do you know the time frame?
They didn't really, because they need to process the assessment and do a quote, and hear from Zurich. But I'm going to take a little break at Easter and go to Queensland, so I'm hoping it'll come through and I can leave it with them. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah, I did the same when I had the repair for the cow incident. Wife and I went to the UK and just left it with Renew for a month, so they didn't have to feel rushed to do it. So that was sort of good.
Yeah. No, that was very good, and it took less time than I thought going to O'Connor. No, it was good.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Yeah, yep. Yeah. O'Connor's not too bad actually. It's
quite a lot more impressive than when they had the Cybertruck there. It's quite nicely done now.
Yeah, I dare say that all the garden and stuff is more mature now, and it's more bedded in, and and it's great to have the body repair shop fully online now.
It's quite huge.
Yep. And sadly, there'll be a steady stream of cars being fixed there because that's just what happens,
It's called life. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's good. Excellent. Oh, well, one day, Carmen, you might be up for maybe a Highland Model 3, or who knows, whatever
Who
comes
knows?
next.
Well, I'm waiting for Simon to get an S or something else. He can get the latest. I'll just have his and sell mine. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
He's enjoying it. He doesn't drive very much, so it's as new. So that's even a better deal.
Yeah, well, we were discussing earlier in the program that there's clear signs of the S and the X being refreshed in the States sometime before the end of the year. And if that refresh also involves the 48-volt main low voltage system and steer-by-wire, then of course the issue that Tesla had in the current refreshed versions, whereby the steering column interfered with the motor mount, then having steer-by-wire would fix that. So then it's possible that the S and the X could come to Australia, perhaps. So obviously Simon would be definitely in for that for a Model S.
Yeah.
So then you can get his car and flog yours.
Yes, definitely.
And your 12-volt battery.
Yeah. Though I still like the 3. I prefer the look of the 3 to the Y.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, you might change your mind once you see the new Ys on the road, which should be starting by the end of May, roughly. And then you'll see the new shape.
Are they very different to the current?
Well, yes and no. It's I'll just bring up Tesla's website, so you can actually. So if we look at their website, that's the current Y, which you're right. It's a little bit sort of not really in proportion, and then the new Y is this, which is a bit more sleeker.
That definitely looks better.
A lot better. So
The Y from the back doesn't do well.
no, but this Y does. So it's actually got a
Good.
unique single.
Yes.
It's actually like a reflective tail
Yes.
light.
Yes, I like it. It's more streamlined.
Very, very streamlined. So that really is, it really is a great car. And obviously, like the Highland, the interior has the pinstripe LED lights,
Oh,
sort of the
very
highlight
nice.
lights,
Yep.
which is quite nice. And
Yeah,
it's got power rear seats, so they
Mhm.
fold in a powered, they're motorized, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, so the new Model Y is definitely something to look at
Oh,
once
good.
it comes out and you see it in the flesh. Hopefully, in the eastern states, they've already got Model Ys in showrooms, or they're preparing to have them.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Oh, really?
WA will have them shortly as well, before the normal ones arrive in May for people that ordered them.
Oh, that's good.
So
It's
that'll be
definitely better.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, at the moment, I'm into building. Damien will be impressed. I bought in Netherlands, not in Dalkeith. I priced myself out. So I've bought in Doonan Road, and I'm starting to build. And in the meantime, I'm staying at Thomas. Pretty much only interested in building at the moment.
Yes, no, that's right. Building becomes all consuming.
It does.
I'm actually in a phase of that too, watching a building for which I've bought off the plan slowly erupt out of the ground, or should I say, erupt into the ground. So yeah, it's
Mine's
an
block
exciting.
value, so I'm actually building a single level retirement house. It's going to be my last number 8 and last. So
One day you'll be right, Carmen.
my kids have reminded me that 14 moves are enough for someone of my age, and I ought to buy an apartment, cull everything, and just be very streamlined. And I said, well, I hate to tell you guys, but I'm going to live till 95 and I'm building again.
That's right. And they
With
probably
a
want you,
granny flat, possibly for a carer if I need one.
well, they probably want you to invest in more Tesla shares and not spend that money, not
Yeah.
spend their inheritance, so that they can have a sweet nest egg.
No, they're quite generous about that, but they just don't want the headaches.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
yes, but I think I'll do. So I'm having a little granny flat, and I said, "Oh, I've got that many grandchildren. I'm sure they'll all need a little spot every now and again. Guarantees visits to grandma." And then I told them I will provide the accommodation for a carer, and they can pay their wages.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so hopefully it all works out. It's I've done it before, so there's no reason why it shouldn't. But things are a little bit more scarce with trades, etc.
Indeed. Yeah,
I'm
that's
putting it to
definitely
tender.
right. Hopefully, you'll have the charger sorted out. That's very easy to do. So
Yeah,
together.
well, I'm taking your advice. I've phoned Western Power and said that I want to upgrade at the property as much as possible.
Yep.
And where I am, there's no charger, but my son's nearby, in the same street actually, so I can pinch his. But otherwise, I'll just try charging overnight on the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Look, and that works perfectly well. My eldest son does that on a rickety old, very old 10 amp PowerPoint, and it's 40 years old. And look, it gets the job done slow and steady. And as it turns out now, he's returning to uni, and he goes to Curtin, which is near my place. So he comes to my place on Thursdays and just sucks the free juice.
Yeah.
And his car gets some 11 kilowatt loving for about 4 hours and fully
Yeah.
charges up. So
Yeah.
pretty happy about
But
that.
you'll have solar panels and all the gear.
Yes, but not at the new place. The new place, because it's high rise, you get nothing. So I'm going to be one of those people that have zero solar, and every single electron I use, I've got to buy.
Has there been any change in the wattage that you're allowed to have in a residence, or is it still 5 kilowatt?
5 kilowatts is sort of the guaranteed the guaranteed maximum. Like, it's not a minimum because you can go less, but generally 5 kilowatts is universally accepted. Like, it's universally approvable. As soon as you want more than a 5 kilowatt inverter, you've got to apply, and you can absolutely get that application approved, but it's not mandatorily approved. Western Power are well within their rights to say, sorry, no, we won't approve anything beyond a 5 kilowatt inverter. You can have more panels.
Is there a downside to having more than 5 kilowatt?
Yes, there is. There is. You won't get the feed-in tariff, the buyback rate from Synergy for any power that you export.
What's the cents per kilowatt?
For what they pay, I'd rather use it. And if I have a granny flat, I will get the kids to all do the same. They've made the 5 kilowatt.
The 5 kilowatt limit, that is pretty much you just won't be approved for anything more on single phase.
Okay.
On three phase, you can apply for more.
Okay.
Yeah, you can apply for more, and usually if it's below, if the inverter capacity is below, I think it was 8.2 or 8.4 kilowatts, it still goes through their automated approval system. So you should still be approved fairly expediently. If it's anything more, then it will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. So you may be able to get more with three phase, and even with single phase, the 5 kilowatts, that is the maximum if you've only got solar. But if you do add batteries, you can go more. So the inverter.
Well, at the moment, I think batteries are not economically viable, but I will.
No, but there is a $5,000
rebate.
Government rebate, but they will begin on the 1st of July. Hopefully, they'll see some sense and bring it forward because it means that a lot of the solar companies will have nothing to do between now and then, because if anyone was going to put in a system, especially with a battery, you'd do it all at once because it works out better. So they'll either have to lay off installers, or some of the weaker companies may actually go under between now and then. So it's a good policy. It's just being really badly implemented. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll take advantage of that for sure. I won't need it before July. I won't be ready for it. And I will get
if you don't want a battery, and if you're not concerned about the $5,000, then over the next 2 or 3 months will be a fantastic time to get a system, because
you will get screaming bargains because it's literally a matter of life or death. These installers have got a lot of stock.
Okay.
That they've basically paid for.
Who should I be talking to?
Oh, anyone. You can just get quotes from all over the place. They'll be falling over them. The only problem, like you said, Carmen, is if you're building, if you haven't got a roof yet, the deals are off. Hey, look, I want you to quote me for an install in September or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll go. We don't even know if we'll still be alive by then. So unfortunately for you, it's not the right time. If you were at lockup stage now, you literally get screaming bargains because literally what happened was, as soon as the Cook government announced or made the announcement, the solar, let's face it, they're basically all solar companies because they marry the batteries in with the solar inverters and solar systems. They got phone calls that same afternoon of a multitude of customers cancelling. And that was installations that were happening the next day, the next week. And they said, no, we're all cancelling. And the problem is, all this stuff has been
and
ordered.
this was even before the election, Harold.
Yes,
and,
that's right.
If Labor didn't get elected, the policy wouldn't have come in. So people were still willing to cancel. So yeah, it's crazy.
It's the insanity, and no politician can with a straight face stare down a camera and answer, "Oh, we never thought that would happen." That is so obvious. It's just dumb human nature. It's exactly what humans would do. Is if I told you, if you just hold off for a few months, I'll give you a $5,000 discount, especially on an optional purchase like a solar system with battery storage. Of course you'd buy it, because why wouldn't you? Or you'd go to the installer and go, yeah, no worries. That $20,000 job you quoted me, I'll if you just give me the discount anyway, then you can install it. And of course, that's far in excess of their profit margin. So
absolutely,
it's just nuts. They have basically brought the West Australian solar installation companies to their knees overnight.
Yep.
Yeah, the industry.
Oh, well, that would explain all the cold calling at the moment.
Oh, no, a lot of that's scammers. You forget the old solar rebate. Oh, that happens. That's been happening for years, Carmen. People are as soon as you hear someone go, oh, hi, I'm from the Australian government solar rebate thing, just hang up.
Yeah.
Because it comes from a certain part of the subcontinent, mostly those calls, and they're all scams.
Okay.
Universally. I don't think a solar
some of them.
call.
Yeah, or some of them do cold call, but usually they're paying marketers or tele operators to make those phone calls, and you don't really want to be talking to those people anyway. You're better off just making the phone call to the solar company directly yourself.
No, I was planning on asking you, Pete, when I'm ready.
Pete will get you something that lasts twice as long and costs 4 times as much.
Is this me? Is it? Hold on.
Pete likes quality.
This keeps coming up.
Pete likes the quality end of the market, and I go for the
inexpensive,
the less expensive end.
Yeah.
The difference is Harold likes to tinker. Harold likes to tinker, and I just like the stuff to just work.
Yeah, I buy that cheap Trina solar stuff, the cheap stuff from China.
I thought Fronius was the way to go. Is that still
cheap Fronius stuff too? Yeah, I've bought cheap Fronius and cheap Trina panels.
The most reputable inverter brands are Fronius is definitely among them. SMA, SolarEdge. They're your more reputable ones.
Yeah.
Mike, you've got your hand up patiently. Oh, and we're actually gone past our time, but that's okay. Yeah, go, Mike. No, you're muted. Sorry.
Can you see that diagram I put in the chat?
2 seconds. You mean no? Oh, I've got Saxon's image.
That's
was it just
then, or for me? So it's below that. There's one which says screenshot PDF for me, which didn't go up because obviously it doesn't like PDFs. So I did it as a JPEG. So if you can see it.
No, not yet. No.
Right.
Did you say it was below Saxon's image of?
Yeah, on my chat, Saxon's thing is still whirring for me. I'm in a browser version, not an app version.
Okay, so I'll just bring up Saxon's image.
No, I can only see Saxon Maley.
Yeah. So, max speed 50. Right, there we go.
So wonder why you can't see it.
No, so I haven't got it yet. No.
So, hang on. Message could not send. Retry. Okay. Anyway, so I went on to it's having a go again, and it's not said it can't go yet. Anyway, just to cut a long story short while we're at the end. So I managed to get the speed limits up on OpenStreet browser, and Huntress up until the corner is 50 in both directions. Carrinup Road 60 and 70, it changes at Gwelup Street, but Gwelup Street and the two side streets off Huntress that come off those two roundabouts are unlabelled.
Yeah, right.
Whereas, for example, Francis, which is next to Carrinup Shopping Centre, is 40 in both. So they've got directional speed limits on, and it's 40 in both directions there. So, you know, all Huntress is labelled as 50 north of Carrinup Road, but those streets off to the side, and including the entirety of Gwelup, is not speed rated at all. Lots of the small streets aren't. So I just thought I'd pass that on to anybody.
So I wonder if they're not labelled, they might go to a default speed limit.
Yeah, they're going to 5 for whatever reason, because where those roundabouts hit Huntress is where the 5 starts.
Yeah, I thought maybe if it's unlabelled, it should go to a default limit. So in WA, our default urban limit is 50 k's an hour. That's our statewide default urban limit.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's clearly a glitch. The problem is we can't see internally what the car's database is. We don't.
That's
have
why
that.
I just thought I'd check the database, and while you were talking, I went in there and had a look. All
Your
good,
message
thanks.
come through, but any case, we're running deep over time, so we might, for the sake of our YouTube and X viewers, if you've gotten this far, congratulations. You don't get a prize. But Pete, how would you round out an awesome show like this as if I didn't already know?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and I really do look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Guys.
Good night.